from the Bible to the ancient world, to the first universities. Let us look at the education in the Bible. Daniel's training in Babylon, 6th century BC. In Daniel 1:3-5, Nebuchadnezzar ordered that the young men of Judah be taken into the Babylonian court for training in the language and literature of the Chaldeans. This is one of the earliest biblical references to formalized education of young men in a state-sponsored program. It was not a university in the modern sense, but it was structured instruction with a set curriculum designed to produce wise men, scribes, and advisors for the empire. Schools of the prophets, around the 9th century BC. Earlier than Daniel, the Bible also describes schools of the prophets in the days of Samuel and Elisha, 1 Samuel 10:5, 2 Kings 2:3-5. These were religious training centers where young men were taught the law of God, music, prophecy, and leadership. They were not broad institutions of higher learning, but they represent a type of structured education. Education in the ancient world. Egypt, around 2000-1500 BC. Records show scribal schools where boys were trained in hieroglyphics, mathematics, and administration. The House of Life in Egyptian temples functioned almost like early colleges, teaching medicine, astronomy, and writing. Moses himself, according to Acts 7:22, was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. Mesopotamia, around 2000 BC. The Sumerians and Babylonians had scribal schools known as aduba, tablet houses, where boys learned cuneiform, arithmetic, and law. Clay tablets dating back nearly 4,000 years describe lessons and punishments for students. These are the earliest secular records of organized education. Greece, around the 5th-4th century BC. Athens had the Academy of Plato, founded 387 BC, and Aristotle's Lyceum, founded 335 BC. These were true institutions of higher learning, focused on philosophy, politics, science, and ethics. They were not universities with degrees, but they were centers where men gathered for systematic education. Rome, around the 1st century BC, 3rd century AD, Romans developed rhetoric schools and later studia liberalia, liberal studies. These trained lawyers, administrators, and politicians. Still, these were private or civic institutions, not centralized universities. First true universities. Nalanda University, India, founded around the 5th century AD. One of the earliest large-scale universities with dormitories, libraries, and international students. It specialized in Buddhist studies, philosophy, mathematics, and medicine. University of Al-Qarawiyyin, Morocco, founded 859 AD. Often considered the world's oldest continuously operating degree-granting university. Founded by a woman, Fatima al-Fihri, it specialized in theology, mathematics, and astronomy. University of Bologna, Italy, founded 1088 AD. The first European university recognized in the modern sense was the University of Bologna, which had faculties of law, medicine, and theology. It set the pattern for medieval universities across Europe. Summary. The Bible's earliest reference is the schools of the prophets, around the 9th century BC, and Daniel's Babylonian training, 6th century BC. The earliest secular record comes from Sumerian scribal schools, around 2000 BC, long before Daniel. Greece and Rome refined education into philosophy and rhetoric schools. The first true universities arose in India, Morocco, and medieval Europe. So, the training of young men in Daniel is part of this long story. Still, education as an institution predates him by over 1,000 years, going back to Mesopotamian scribal schools. Please like and subscribe to learn more.